Hi, this is Alexandra at Beadaholique, here to show you how to make the diamond back necklace. In this video, we're going to bead weave this center focal using a combination of 2-hole glass check beads, including ginkgo beads, mini duos, super duos, and also some size 11/0 Miyuki round seed beads. After we weave it, then we'll put it together with some chain, and for tools, I have cutters that I used to separate that chain. I've got some round nose and chain nose pliers. I'll be stringing with some smoke fire line. Got scissors here. And to begin, I have pre-cut 3 feet of fire line and put it on my size 12 needle. I'm going to start by adding a stopper bead. Leave myself about a 4 or 5 inch tail. To begin the pattern, I'm going to take up a ginkgo bead and string through the larger back portion of the bead. Then I'll add a seed bead, a mini duo, a seed bead, and my next ginkgo bead, making sure that they're all facing the same direction. Seed bead, mini duo, and seed bead. And I'm going to continue for 14 beads. This is designer's choice. You can add fewer or more. Oops, not that one, this one. Sorry, seed bead, mini duo, seed bead, and the next ginkgo. I'll do a couple more and then meet up with you at the other side. All right, I'm on my final section of seed beads with mini duos and my final ginkgo bead. So that's 14. Let me separate my thread there and get it a little bit longer to work with. Now what I'm ready to do on this end is take up 3 seed beads and one of these thread protectors. And to add this onto my piece, I'm going to thread up through one side. There's a little tube there. Pull it all the way down toward the rest of my beads, and then I'm going to bring my needle back through the other tube on that opposite side in the opposite direction back toward my beadwork. And the thread lands right in that little groove. It's a great way to protect your cord while you're transitioning onto chain. So that's what we'll be doing. Now here I'm adding on 3 more seed beads to start my path back along the other side of these ginkgo beads. Once I'm through that hole, I'm going to take on a seed bead, a super duo, another seed bead, and then come through the second hole of the next ginkgo. So don't concern yourself with the mini duos at this point. They will be threaded in their own way on the opposite side of the piece. We're just doing the super duos now. So again, I'm adding a seed bead, a super duo, another seed bead, and coming through my next ginkgo bead. Sewing up the opposite side of my bracelet. Seed bead, super duo, seed bead, through the second hole of the ginkgo, and so forth. I'll be going all along this side, meet up with you at the other end when it's time to add our other thread protector. All right, so I've added my final super duo bead, come out the opposite side, and I'm going to take on 3 more seed beads, just as I did on the other side. And I'm also going to put on my other thread protector in the same way, up the one side and down the other. Making sure my thread lands in that little groove on the top. And if my tension's a little loose, that's okay, because We'll check it once we tie off at this end. First though, I'm going to take on 3 more seed beads. And now I've met up with my stopper bead, which I'm ready to remove. So I'll slide that off of the tail. And I'm going to tie the 2 sides of my thread together for security. Just by doing overhand knot like so, make sure it lands right between that seed bead and the opening of the ginkgo. 1 time and twice. I'm still going to leave that tail on so I can thread it through and do 1 more knot for security at the end. Right now I'm ready to take my needle side up again. I'm going to travel through the ginkgo and also through my first seed bead headed up the mini duo side of the piece. I'm going to put my needle up through the second hole of the mini duo and begin to string on 4 seed beads between each mini duo. And this is where we're building outward in the weaving, which will create a really nice sense of dimension and complexity. It's really fun to build with these 2-hole beads. Sorry, my thread got in the way. Okay, 4 more seed beads. And in through my next mini duo. 4 more seed beads. And through the mini duo, and so forth. Now as I'm going along, I want to make sure that all of my second holes are open. Every once in a while you'll get a bead that's closed off. So before you start, you want to make sure all your beads are good and ready to use. So I'm going to continue all the way up this side, and then when we get to the end, travel up through and we'll start down the opposite side of the piece, and I'll show you how many beads to add at that point as well. I've added on my last 4 beads between the mini duos, and now I'm going to take my needle and come back through this seed bead between the mini duo and the ginkgo, and I'm also going to come up this side of the ginkgo bead. And then I'm also going to travel through the seed beads and the thread protector to get to the other side of the piece again. Takes a little doing just to get the needle through each of these tiny portions. So back up through the thread protector there. Over and around. Down the other tube of it. Now I'm coming through these 3 seed beads. Through this hole of the ginkgo on this side, as well as that first seed bead next to the super duo, and coming up through the second hole of my super duo. So on this side, we're going to be adding 5 seed beads between each super duo, as opposed to the 4 that we put between the mini duos. There's 5, and this is to, again, give a bit of dimension to the piece. It fits really nicely right at the base of the neck because of the graduated size of the spacing. So I'm going to continue along this side in the same manner as I did on the opposite, just adding 5 beads between each super duo. And when I get to the opposite side, we'll tie off our thread and attach the chain and clasp. So here I've added my last section of 5 seed beads between the super duos, and I'm ready to thread now back through the little seed bead between the super duo and the ginkgo. I'm also coming up through that ginkgo bead, and I'm ready to tie off and weave in my thread. Be sure I pull the string taut so that it takes on its shape, but not too tight that it crunches the piece up. Just a little bit of play there. And go ahead and make my knot between the seed bead and the ginkgo bead. Come through one more time. I also went ahead and tied off and wove in my tail, which is done in this very same manner. So I'm ready to clip. So to add the chain and jump rings, I'll bring them over here. I've got some 6mm 20 gauge jump rings and a lobster clasp, as well as some 3.7mm Rollo chain. So to attach that, I'll bring in my pliers. I'm going to slide my jump ring onto my thread protector and also onto the end link of one of my chains. It's a 5-inch chain. This necklace hangs about 16 inches. So that's on one side. And to adjust the size of this necklace, you would simply use longer or shorter chain, or you could change up the number of beaded units that you weave. I'll do the same for the clasp to attach here on the other side of my chain. Whoops. And my last jump ring. And there we have the diamond back necklace. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can find all of these tools and supplies at beadaholique.com, and also be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for all the latest updates. Thanks for watching.